Hello and welcome to another video tutorial here on understanding body language, liars, cheats and happy feet. So I've got a new interview for you lined up this afternoon. This guy's called Greyson Chance. You might have heard of him, you might not have heard of him, but give him a couple of years and this guy is going to be massively world famous. I must say I've not heard much of his stuff. I've heard that piano thing he did in that school. I think it was Lady Gaga's Paparazzi. He got like 500 million views on YouTube or something like that. But anyway, he's done an interview on American television on Ellen the other day. So I'm just going to run through his non-verbals and see if we can spot anything that catches our eye. Now, before we begin, we've got to remind ourselves that this chap is 14 years old. So please remember that when you watch this video. Okay, rightio. So let's stop it right there. Now then, that is how you make an entrance. That was absolutely textbook. First thing we do there, walk comfortably and confidently down the stairs. Puts Greyson here. He rolls his sleeves up. There you go. This guy is ready for action. Good eye contact, and then he addresses the fans, and that is fantastic to see. Often you don't see that happening with big stars. They don't like to address the fans straight away. They walk themselves down here and they try and give as little eye contact to people as much as they can. But what Greyson does here is fantastic. And then he goes straight in for the embrace. Look at this. So acknowledges the fans who are great to see him. He orchestrates the embrace, and look at Ellen's open palm gesture welcoming him. So watch this. There you go. So look at Ellen's open palm gesture welcoming in Greyson. Basically, that's an old-fashioned gesture which has been evolved throughout the years. It shows us I'm not here to harm you, and I have no concealed weapons. And look at this. Now, if these two didn't have good rapport, there would be none of that. So she's welcoming Greyson into her personal space. And what's interesting here is this position here, that looks to me very reminiscent of a mother and a son embracing here. And what's even more interesting is that particular gesture here, where we place their hands interlocking with the palm of the hand, just like that. And that is a classic sign of embrace, of warmth and rapport. So these two already have got great rapport. They must be friends in real life, obviously away from all the cameras and stuff, because you wouldn't necessarily get that embrace with someone you've never met. So the hug, and tied, a good warm hug, the held on, the clench, the fingers clasped together, and there you go. And look at that gesture there. That's a great gesture, where she puts her arms straight across, just like that. It's like, this is the star. This is the real star. And the hand over here, a little bit of territorial ownership, just reminding Greyson that this is actually my show, silently. But that is a great opening start, and the crowd are going wild. So that is how you enter an arena.
You just look fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Man, it's been a while since I'm back.
It is.
You have a book?
Well, not yet. In October, but I do have another book coming.
So he's slightly fidgety. But it's understandable because he's nervous. Bearing in mind, this guy is 14 years old.
It is.
You have a book?
There you go. So he's fidgety. So he's trying to distract himself.
Another book coming out. Not yet.
He has a book.
I'll give you another. Well, it's my third book. You don't have the first two?
Well, I know my mom does.
All right. Well, you get all of them. You'll get everything.
Of course.
All right. So let's talk about. I've talked to you already about your.
So already there's a bit of it, a little bit awkward at the start here because they're not really talking about anything specifically.
Well, I know my mom does.
All right. Well, you get all of them. You'll get everything.
Of course.
All right.
And we can see by Greyson's body language here, his hand positions are all over the place. He's fidgeting a lot. Now he's got his hands clasped together.
You know, it's just so surreal. You know, I've been working on this album in particular for a year. I mean, you know, right when I was on your show the second.
And he's making that roll-up sleeve gesture there again. So we've got repeated behaviour.
For a year. I mean, you know, right when I was on your show the second time, I flew out to.
And if you notice, his speech tone has increased now. He's talking a lot faster.
I was in the studio cutting records, so it's just been so surreal to actually have it and to be able to hold it in my hands.
Well, bear in mind, this guy's 14 years old, so slight nerves are apparent here. Okay, but bearing in mind the chap's 14 years
Number
old.
2 on the iTunes pop chart.
So it's Adele number 1, then you. That's crazy. And I'm telling you, I was listening to it. You were sending me tracks along the way.
Oh, yeah.
I was listening to things along the way, and I'm telling you, and you've written, how many songs did you write on here?
I wrote more than half of the record, so it's about 6 or 7.
You're so talented, and
So obviously he would know how many he wrote. He just says 6 or 7 there, so don't worry
anyways,
too
and
much
the
about
songs,
that.
I'm
That's just
telling
his
you,
verbal communication.
I don't care
Don't
how old
worry
you
about
are.
that.
This is a good album. I think it's really
Thank
good.
you.
I'm very proud of it for you. So, and you meet all your fans. You're on the road, and you have all these. How does that feel?
Well, you know, I've been doing, ever since January, you know.
So we've got a slight example there of a false start where he moves to go say one thing and actually
Good.
stops to say
I'm
other.
very proud of it for you. So, and you meet
again.
all your fans. You're on the road, and you
Don't
have
worry about
all
too
these,
much about
How
that.
does that feel?
Well, you know, I've been doing,
I've been
ever
doing
since January,
ever
I've been
since.
on the
There you
road,
go. So we've got
and being on tour
inconsistency.
is just one of my favorite
But he's
things to
got
do in
so
the
full
world.
of energy here. You can see
be
by
able to
his
see
use of
how,
illustrators with the hand gestures.
how the fans just
He's very articulate. He's very articulate. So he's got the energy of a young teenager.
everywhere.
And that's coming
And,
through here.
For example, I did an in-store at a Long Island mall. We did an in-store there. And I went to the mall. This is a clip of it. And I went to the mall a couple months.
Okay, yep, so let's just scan forward here. Here we go.
It's good to piss off the security.
Oh, I love it.
It's good.
I love it.
So, and then I heard that there were people that couldn't get in, and they turned people away, and you went outside to meet the people that couldn't get in.
Well,
So
you know,
what we're
it's
seeing
funny.
here
I
again
was
is repeated behaviour by him by rolling up his sleeves. Look at this here.
And you went outside to meet
So
the people
either
that couldn't get in.
that jacket he's wearing there is causing friction on his forearms, or that's part of his baseline behaviour. He likes rolling his sleeves up. I must say that does form part of my repertoire. Whenever I'm out and I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, I instinctively start to roll the sleeves up. I don't know why, it's just part of my normal repertoire, and I think that's part of Greyson's as well, because we've seen that particular gesture on more than one occasion.
Well, you know, it's funny. I was with my manager, and they told us there.
And it's not necessarily an indicator of stress at all, because what he's talking about isn't stressful for him.
People that couldn't get in, and they turned people away, and you went outside to meet the people that couldn't get in.
And there we
Well,
go,
you know,
that's the
it's
same
funny.
one.
I was with my manager, and they told us there's no way that the signing would go too long, blah, blah, blah. There's no way that we could get to the fans. So me and him both looked at each other, and we were like, nope, we're going out there. So we didn't tell anybody. It was like four of my team, and they were like crowded around me. They were like, shake hands.
So again, we can see he's very articulate with the hands.
Shake hands.
His
So we were
hands
going and signing
are pretty
things.
much all over the
That
place,
really
but he's
goes
articulating with
It's a
them.
long way. Fans really appreciate that.
So basically what illustrators are, they help the listener perceive the information coming across by the sender. That's what illustrators are. So by using the hands when he talks a lot is a good sign of honesty. Other things are called adapters, and these are things that don't help us understand what's being said. Like an example of an adapter was if Greyson was putting his hands towards his mouth when he's talking like I'm doing now, and he can't really hear somebody. So that's an example of an adapter. And a manipulator is something we do when we give off stress. And a lot of people start touching the back of the neck. They can start using hands or face gestures. Quite a few women like touching the area just below the breastbone there, just a slight scratch, often where you find a necklace is dangling. We just like to touch there, but obviously we can see that Greyson is not making any kind of these negative gestures. He's just using illustrators to get his point across, and that's good. That does come with nervousness. An increase in illustrators is also indicative of nerves, which we can see here by his increased speech.
When they make the effort to come out and see you, and you make the effort to make sure that they
Exactly.
you know they're there, and I know that you eventually want to act a little
So
bit.
he's slightly restless, and you can see that with his hands here. He's not leaning back into his chair, he's leaning forward. So he's anticipating the question.
And I know that
And we can
you
see here that he's
eventually
bobbing
wanna
about
act a little
slightly
bit,
as well.
And your
Yes.
first acting role.
So the
is
energy here, the positive energy is coming through.
When is it coming up?
Well, it's coming out on September 20th. It's the season premiere of.
So he's so
Raising
jubilant
Hope.
that his
And,
gestures
you know,
are all
it
over
was
the
just
place here. He's
so much fun
hammering
for me to be
down.
on set with everybody, you know, Martha Plimpton. And by the way, Martha Plimpton should win her Emmy.
And that's a fantastic example of a spontaneous correction.
It was just
Okay,
so
watch
much
it.
fun for
He's
me to be on
free
set
flowing.
with everybody, you know, Martha Plimpton. And by the
And there
way,
you go.
Martha Plimpton should win
And he
her
makes
Emmy.
the gesture
Just
emblem
saying.
here, pointing.
If I have any way to contribute to that, she's the best person in the world. I love her.
And there you go. So that's a
And,
good use of a gesture emblem. They show a bit of the
Take
they show a bit of the clip here. We don't necessarily need to see this.
I'd have you go play with your girlfriend's chest.
Look at that body language. Right, okay, so we're back in, and we've seen Exert again. We've got repeated behaviour there. Look at those, that particular gesture there. I bet if I see Greyson Chance in 5 years' time on an interview, on a chat show, I bet he does that all the time, because that is part of his baseline behaviour.
She's crazy. She is so much fun, though. I want her to be my grandma. I can't even tell you.
She will be your grandma. I've worked with her. She's very unpredictable.
She's the best.
Yeah,
she's very unpredictable.
All right, so you can see Greyson on Raising Hope, and in a minute you're going to be able to see Greyson sing. We'll be right back.
What we see here, an example of a fake smile. There we go. So a fake smile there, so that's a nervous smile, in which he's coming through by his particular gesture there. And I actually thought he was going to use that particular rolling up the sleeve gesture there as well. And we end with an embrace. And this time we get the double hug here and the pulling in. So these two here have got a lot of good rapport going on. Okay, and that is the how to end an interview. That's fantastic. You won't see people who dislike each other doing this kind of thing. If you watch my Lady Gaga video I did with Jimmy Kimmel, you would not see this kind of embrace if you don't actually like somebody. So my overall conclusion is this guy is 14 years old, but I've got to say he's got a very level head. I've seen other 14-year-old musicians come out who act like they're very immature. This guy is very mature and he's got a very bright future in front of him. He is slightly nervous throughout this interview. We can see his repeated behaviour by him rolling his sleeves up, which is an indicator of he's ready for action. We see no facial expressions from Greyson, so there's no concealed emotion. He's very happy, he's very jubilant, he's lots of energy, and I personally think he's going to be an absolutely massive star, and I think one day he might even overtake Justin Bieber. But that's just my opinion. So with that in mind, if you enjoyed that, please check out my body language page on Facebook. It's called Understanding Body Language, Liars, Cheats and Happy Feet. I do all sorts of other videos and I do tutorials on here, and I put posts on about body language and about how the brain works, and look at like more advanced methods of body language like pupil dilation and carotid artery behavior and how to spot deception and honesty and things like that. So if you're interested in learning more about body language and you're on Facebook, please check me out at Understanding Body Language, Liars, Cheats and Happy Feet. The link is at the bottom of this page. Please click that and it'll come onto there. So with that in mind, I hope you enjoyed that analysis here on Understanding Body Language. Any questions or feedback, please let me know. And I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. So take care and bye-bye for now.